I'm very happy, for sure, because we tried something very new. Every film will shock you, slap you, surprise you.
There is a reference from Nayagan, Nayakudu in Telugu. Can you expect in sequel there is anything?
Yeah, there's a lot of, we're trying to get into a certain universe where you'll see.
Hi, this is Satya Pulagam. Welcome to ABP Desam. Gautham Vasudev Menon, the man who needs no introduction. He's a star from Chali to the recent The Life of Muthu. We loved his films and recently he scored a big hit with The Life of Muthu. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, you made some great love stories and you made some great cop stories from Cheli, MIH7 and Raghavan, NIR Indal. All this, we loved that films. And this is something different from your usual filmmaking style. And how this success is important to you and how are you enjoying this success?
Enjoying, I'm not sure as yet because there's been too much of work going on. I really want to step away from the film. I've not been able to do that because there's a lot of work, there's promotion still happening, we are talking, all that. But I'm very happy, for sure, because we tried something very new, very different. Within the scenario, I think it's very new age. The way we filmed the story, I think it's, I honestly feel it's like never before. There's a lot of work that's gone into how we've made this film. And sometimes when you don't notice it, it's nice because that's the idea, you know, where you don't notice the camera, you just merge with what was happening on screen. And I'm very happy that we made this film. In my journey as a filmmaker, I wanted to narrate a few stories, slice of life from my own life, from the life around me. And at some point I wanted to venture into slightly different areas, and this is the first in that attempt, I think. And I'm very happy it's being received well. Yeah.
And you shot this film within 55 days. And before to shoot this film, there is a lot of prep for this film, no? How it could be, as a filmmaker and as an experienced director, how it's important to do pre-production work?
It's the most exciting part for me because once you get into shoot, it's what you worked on for that 3 months to get this film going. You know, and once you get to filming, then it's a lot of things that fall in place, actors, you know, production, you know. But the most exciting part for me is to set up a film, like the pre-prod that goes into, you know, 3 months later of filming. Discussing, bringing the team together, fixing the team, fixing the actors, sitting on music sessions with the music director, in this case, Mr. Rahman. And I just loved, you know, every moment of that. So that was the most exciting phase of this film for me, if you ask me, where the film comes together before the camera runs. And then when the camera is running, from day one onwards, that's a completely new experience by itself. It's like a dream coming, you know, true sort of thing, right? And then that, at the end of that journey, once you put the film together, you're living with the film like a student. You're trying to figure out this is the right film, if this is the right length. Should I remove the scene a bit? Shall I extend that scene a bit? What kind of sound? Can I up the sound here? Though the music is like this. You know, so there you're like a student almost, like studying, trying to put the film out. And once you've put the film out, it's gone into the universe, right? You have nothing to do with it after that. I have to listen to, you know, people telling me things about the film. Do I want to listen to it? I don't know, but right now it's in a very good space.
So every film is a new experience for Gautham Menon too?
Every filmmaker, every film is a new experience. You can never say, oh, I've done so much of work, so this is going to be like a piece of cake. No way. Every film will shock you, slap you, surprise you, and sometimes it'll eat you up also. Already
you work with Simbu. He can pull off 24-year-old character and he can do a Don gangster role too. But initially Jai Mohan sir wanted to cast a young boy, no? How it was difficult to convince the Jai Mohan sirs?
No, it wasn't difficult. He didn't know that I was aligned to do a film with Simbu. He knew I was already making a film with Simbu. It was a love story, and I went to him for a story. It was a discussion to write another story for another film. No hero was discussed at that time. So when we worked the script out, when I heard the story, and then 10-15 days later, when the script was starting to take shape, there was one casual discussion where he said, this will work for a new hero. So I told him I don't have any new heroes with me, and neither do I want to make a film with a new hero, because you know, for production to spend money on the film for what the story deserves, you won't get that. Yeah. So I said, I have Simbu with me and I'll get him to do it. He said, but our Pannuvara, Will he do this? And will he understand this? He has to transform. He has to become a 19-year-old. Also, forget Simbu. You have to understand that the audience will expect Simbu to do a lot of things on screen, which Muthu will not do, right? So I said Simbu will be convinced and he will do this. So that it was only about 10 minutes of discussion. He said, "You know best. Take it forward." He said. So yeah.
ఇందులో సింబు మిమ్మల్ని సర్ప్రైజ్ చేసిన సీన్స్ ఏమైనా ఉన్నాయి?
Every moment, honestly I'm saying, like, now that I don't want to tell you a moment, but every moment, like from the first scene that we shot with Simbu, the mother, Radhika ma'am, and the sister walking, there was a body language that he brought in. And he said, "This is I'm going to maintain through the film. I know somebody who walks like this, so I'll do this." And then he does this with his shirt a couple of times. And the expressions that there's an anger in him, there's one desperation with what he's trying to do, cutting wood in the forest out of thorn trees, thorn bushes, and making wood out of that, taking wood out of that and then trying to make some money. And when the whole forest catches fire, how he tries to get out. The pain of the thorns all over his body, which sort of sets up the rest of the story for him. So everywhere there was something that he did which is always surprising me. And not that I didn't expect it from him, but he was still surprising me with that, yeah.
And like you said, this is not a just action flick or gangster drama. There is an emotion in this film too. And in each of your film, I observe there is a slight emotion quotient in that film. How emotion is important to driven a film?
Yeah, even an action scene, if there is no emotion in that action scene, it's not going to work. You can have a fight sequence, you can stage it brilliantly. Finally, it will be watched because the staging is brilliant, but if there's no emotion, it's not going to connect with the audience. So I'm very particular about that. And somewhere we try to bring an emotional arc into the story. So here's a reluctant boy who doesn't know what he's getting into. He sees things happening around him and he wants to get out, but suddenly he's thrown back in, like, twice over, like twofold he's thrown back in, and then what happens to him? And then every time he tries to get away, something bigger happens. So that's the emotion, that's the emotion that we've tried to underline in the film. Yeah.
So there is initially జయమోహన్ గారు కథ రాసినప్పుడు ఇందులో రొమాంటిక్ ట్రాక్ లేదు, లవ్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ లేదు అని చెప్పారు. అండ్ ఇందులో రొమాన్స్ అండ్ లవ్ సీన్స్ రాయడం ఎంత కష్టమైంది?
So the heroine's character was there, Pavani, she was there, but I just thought I could push it a little bit more, that's all. And Jayamon sir also said, "Yeah, please go ahead and do it." And music also came into picture. See, after the first few days of this mass audience that like Simbu and they want, great stuff happening on screen, it will settle down into one regular family audience and people, ladies, women coming to the theatre. For them, all these parts will also work, I thought, in an action film, in a gangster saga drama, a girl, the love story between the two of them, a couple of songs, I thought will work. And that's why we've sort of tried to be organic about it and place it in the film. Yeah.
We know that you're a master of writing love scenes, but is it difficult to incorporate or difficult to blend it in this movie?
No, it wasn't. I don't know if I'm a master and all that. It's not easy, but it's not easy. It has to flow with the film, it has to flow with the character. The characters have to speak like how they are, backgrounds that they are from. So you have to get into their shoes and imagine and think for them and then write those scenes. So it's never easy to do anything with film. But that's the job, right? You have to crack it somehow.
Usually directors ఒక స్టేజ్కి వచ్చిన తర్వాత there is a comfort zone. They want to make a films, they want to make. వాళ్ళు తీయాలనుకున్న సినిమాలు తీయచ్చు, వాళ్ళు తీయాలనుకున్న కథల్ని చెప్తే దెర్ విల్ బి లాట్ ఆఫ్ ప్రొడ్యూసర్స్. బట్ ఇలా కొత్తగా ట్రై చేయాలనే తపన చాలా కొంతమందిలో ఉంటుంది. అండ్ వాట్ మేక్స్ యూ టు డ్రివెన్ టు డ్రైవ్ టు మేక్ సంథింగ్ న్యూ?
See, I'm not thinking in terms of, I have to sustain, I have to do something new, only then I'll get my next film. I've been here for 20 years, I have to run with the other horses, it's not that. You stay relevant to yourself. It has to be exciting for me. I was all set to do a love story. When I heard this story and I thought, I want to get into this, that it's something sparked off, set off a spark in me. Something was ignited in me and I thought, this is what I should do. It was not about, and it's not a commercial film per se. I brought a star in, I've stripped him off completely of what a star will do in any film that you see these days. Even the action scenes are not loud and people flying about and dust, and it's not that. It's very real, you in and out. 20-25 seconds action scenes are over. If somebody comes to attack you, that's all time you have, right? So it's everything is done like that. Even when he talks to a girl and there's a moment between them, they're only holding hands because that's what normal people do. There's nothing beyond that. They just hold hands and stand there. But to make it cinematic, to push it to I thought I made them lip sync that song. So I think everything is to a large extent in a very real space. It's not commercially loud. And I don't have anything against these films, but it's not in that zone at all. That's what I want to do, and without worrying about whether I'll get my next film and whether a star will call me and all that. For me, I want to be true to a film, and that's what I've been doing. So I think as long as you stay relevant to yourself, you're fine. Yeah.
Right now, audience are also accepting the realistic world, like the Muthu's world. Audience are accepting so many realistic films and all. Do you think post-pandemic or else from the past 5 to 10 years, audience are changing, right?
No, I think at every point they've been like that. I mean, from way back, there has always been a very different film that will be, that coffee bean that you smell when you're actually getting the smell of various other perfumes. To change that smell, they give you a coffee bean, and then you move to the next perfume that you can smell, right? So this every time there's a film that will change the way people look at films, and the audience have accepted that. Because you connect with the character. When there's a life that's being narrated and you connect, you see yourself, you think this can happen to you, or this can happen to the guy next to you or 10 seats from you. Even if you're sitting at home and watching, if you connect, I think it will work. And I can give you various examples of film like this from the 60s that have changed how people look at films, So, yeah. I'm not saying this is that film, but to answer your question per se, it's at every point, it's not post-COVID is all that I'm saying. At every point, there's been a film that the audiences like, which is different from something else that's come. Yeah.
So coming to this film, The Life of Muthu, there is a crossover, like there is a reference from Nayakudu in Telugu. Can you expect in sequel there is anything?
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of. We're trying to get into a certain universe where you'll see people from here and there, from other films, which I think is being done today, and I think it's a nice thing as long as it goes with the story and it works. Here I wanted to just a suggestion, that's all, and I think it's been received really well. And I'm a big fan of the film, and I love that world that Mani sir created with that film, and I thought a moment from that will honestly work. Yeah.
Recently మీరు ఏమై చేసావే and Raghavan 2 and వీటన్నిటి గురించి మాట్లాడారు, and you already had some ideas to make sequels.
Yeah, so Garshana Kaka there was always a plan to take that character forward. Vettadu Villadu 2, it's a very iconic, saying it myself, Raghavan did stand out as a character, right? And I can write so many more stories with the same Raghavan, handling an episode or an encounter or a crime, investigation sort of thing. So these are all characters that can be taken forward, and it looks like there is still a lot of interest for these characters amongst audience, and these are the questions that I get asked everywhere. So why not? I'm saying, yeah.
Sir, and Life of Muthu Part 2 ఎప్పుడు రాబోతుంది?
So we're working on the story. I want to make sure this film reaches to an audience across a bigger audience, and then if the response is really good, it has been so far, and if it sustains and becomes like a big talking point and people like Muthu, then we'll make it very soon.
సార్, ఇప్పుడు చాలా ఫిల్మ్స్ వస్తున్నాయి అండ్ చాలా మూవీస్లో మీరు కూడా యాక్ట్ చేస్తున్నారు. దెర్ ఈస్ ఎనీ వన్ పర్టిక్యులర్ డైరెక్టర్ ఆర్ మూవీ దట్ సర్ప్రైజెస్ యూ?
I think all the films that I've acted in, I did Michael with Ranjit. It was very intense and very differently handled. I did Vetrimaran's Vidudalai. Again, a very interesting filmmaker who handles an entire, it's a one-man show sort of a thing, and I love the way he was putting that film together. Anwar Rashid sir's Trance was a great experience for me. Dulkar's Kannum Kannum Kolliyadital was also a great experience.
కన్నులు కన్నులు దోచాయంటే
It was a great experience for me because it was fun, it was nice, it was intense. There was a funny element at the end of the film, and so all these directors are interesting directors, and I'm glad I picked these films to be in.
థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్.
Thank you. Yeah.